Hi, this is Joe Albanese. I'd like to take a little time to discuss our Valencia Isles board meetings. A board meeting is how our board of directors performs the legal business of the association. Board meetings are presided over by the president or, in his or her absence, the vice president. If both the president and vice president are absent, the remaining directors may delegate a director to chair the meeting. These meetings must conform to the rules stipulated in our governing documents as well as the regulations in Section 720 of the Florida State Statutes. The meetings are conducted using the parliamentary procedures outlined in Robert's Rules of Order and by making and voting on motions. A motion is used to introduce a new piece of business, propose a course of action, authorize the expenditure of association funds, etc. So getting this procedure right is essential if the board wants to have smooth meetings and maintain the confidence of their members. So let's discuss how this process should operate. Here's a flowchart I'm going to use. I know it looks pretty intimidating, but it's really not once we break it down. So let's start. It all starts with a member of the board, after seeking and receiving recognition from the chair, saying, "I move that," followed by a statement of the proposal. That motion now needs to be seconded by another member of the board. After being seconded, the chair should restate the motion so everyone is clear what the motion is exactly, and then it goes to the discussion phase. So let's talk a little bit about discussion. There are some procedures in this regard as well. First to speak should be the person who made the motion. Normally, he advocates for the passage of the motion by giving his reasons for supporting the proposal. After he speaks, any other board member that wishes to speak must seek recognition by the chair, usually by raising one's hand. And when so recognized, they have their opportunity to speak on the matter. When a director is speaking, he should not be interrupted. This is not a debate. Only the director recognized has the floor to speak with and should be able to do so without crosstalk. If someone wants to challenge what the speaker just said, they need to raise their hand, seek recognition, and wait their turn. Directors may speak more than once, but no director should speak for a second time until all directors that wish to speak have had their opportunity. When the board completes their discussion, the chair must then recognize any resident, either there physically or attending by electronic means, that wishes to speak on the motion. Now, during this discussion phase, any director may make one of several additional motions. One motion that can be made is to amend the motion. This means that the member proposes some language in the original motion to be added, deleted, or modified. Once again, this motion to amend needs to be seconded. If there's no second, the motion to amend does not move forward, and it goes back to discussion of the original motion. But if it is second, we go to the discussion phase of the proposed changes. The same discussion procedures that we discussed earlier apply here as well. After all discussion is completed, the chair should read the motion as amended and ask for yeas or nays. If the motion to amend fails, we go back to discussing the original motion. If the motion to amend passes, that just means that the changes to the original motion's languages will be incorporated. It does not mean that the motion as amended has passed. You will still need to discuss and vote on the amended motion, which would require a majority vote to be approved. A second type of motion that might be made during this discussion phase is a motion to table. A motion to table, if passed, means that the original motion will not be voted on at this time, but might be brought up at a subsequent meeting. A motion to table also requires a second and should be voted on immediately. There is really no need for any discussion. If the motion to table passes, you move on to the next agenda item. If it fails, you go back to the discussion phase. And after all the discussion has been completed, the motion is put to a vote. The chair needs to restate the motion and ask all in favor and all opposed. A simple majority is required to approve the motion. After the vote, the chair should announce the results, whether the motion is approved or rejected, and the board can then move on to the next item on the agenda. Okay, well, there are some other motions and procedures that happen less often but are equally important to know, so let's go over some of them. Previous question. When someone says, I move the previous question or I call the question, they are asking to close debate and vote immediately on the motion that's on the floor. The motion to close debate does not have interrupting privileges. If a member wants to move to close debate, he must get in line and seek recognition like any other member waiting to discuss the motion. Importantly, though, a member can seek recognition to offer comments on the motion, and at the end of his comments, move to close debate. Previous question motions are not debatable. There is no discussion, but rather an immediate vote. Previous question motions must receive a 2/3 majority to pass. So if we had all 7 board members in attendance, you would need 5 affirmative votes to end debate and immediately vote on the original motion. Point of order. If a director notices a breach of the rules, he may interrupt the speaker and say, point of order. The chair must recognize the director that called the point of order, at which time the director would state his reason for thinking that the rules are not being followed correctly. There is no debate or vote. The chair rules on all points of order and declares them well taken, and hopefully takes corrective measures, or not well taken, and the discussion continues. The chair's ruling is final and cannot be reconsidered. Refer to committee. A director may believe that more information or research is needed on a particular motion and would rather refer the matter back to the appropriate committee. He can make a motion. I move to refer the motion to the purchasing committee, for example. Refer to committee motions require discussion and a majority vote to pass. Point of information. A director may request additional information on the subject, perhaps from a committee chairman, for example, before proceeding. He should wait till he's recognized to raise the point of information, but he can interrupt the speaker if the matter is urgent. There is no discussion or vote required on a point of information. So there are other motions that may be raised, and all board members should familiarize themselves to be ready for any possibility. There are many cheat sheets out there that summarize these motions and tell you how to proceed when one is raised. When I was on the board, I had such a cheat sheet available to me during meetings. They could be quite helpful. It is incumbent on all board members to understand and comply with Robert's Rules of Order, lest a legal challenge be made if the rules are violated. But the key person in enforcing the rules is the chair. The chair is the maestro of this symphony and needs to take charge of the meetings and ensure that everyone's rights are enforced and the meeting doesn't turn into a free-for-all. Easier said than done, I know, but that is a key responsibility of the position. I hope this video has been helpful, not only to the board and committee members, but also to residents, so that they are better able to follow the proceedings at a board meeting. Thank you for your attention.